What's up, guys? Andrew C. Bailey here, and I want to talk about the power of language and how it can either make life more challenging or make life a lot better. And this is going to be a quick one because I'm going to go eat dinner. But I've noticed that a lot of people are not consciously aware of the language that they're using on a daily basis. They're literally not conscious enough to be able to see or hear or detect what's coming out of their mouth or the thoughts that they're thinking. They just don't have the level of awareness necessary to be able to detect like what's coming out of your mouth. And one habitual pattern that I've seen with clients throughout the last 12 years of coaching. What's up, Gina? Doing great. Traveled to Montana recently from California. Putting up the Christmas tree in a little bit. Anybody put up their Christmas tree? So you could put up a Christmas tree, by the way, and you could say, I have to do this. I just have to do this from a place of it feeling like struggle. Most people are going around using habitual language of I have to go to work. I have to do these things. I have to pay my bills. I have to do date nights. Can you believe that? Date night was exciting and now it's not because you're using, probably you're not creating wonderful expeditions, adventures with your honey bunny, but which make things go stale. But then now you're describing things with language that's not exciting. Most people are using have tos. Notice how many times you use the word have to during your day-to-day basis. I have to go to work. I have to write the sales page. I have to do my breath work. I have to do this. I have to do that. I have to do this. Notice the language that you're using. When you switch to get to, I get to do this. I get to, like with my mom, we just cleaned out the refrigerator because for a certain reason, I'm not going to go into that, but we cleaned out the refrigerator together. And I saw that as a get to. I saw this as an opportunity rather than something that was like a chore. You can literally assign meaning to things with your language. You can decide a thing's a gift, or you can decide things an arduous chore. So noticing how you're describing things in your life is critical. When I first became cognizant, aware of these things is when, probably about 2001, 2002, I was in a place in Montana, a library, and they were giving a bunch of books away, mainly, and it was thousands of books away, mainly romance novels. But there's one book that stood out to me by a psychologist named Shad Helmstetter, and it was a book called What You Say When You Talk to Yourself. What to Say When You Talk to Yourself. What to Say When You Talk to Yourself. It's actually a great book. And he talked about how our minds have been programmed from birth with certain language patterns. And one of them is, he talked about how kids grow up, and by the time they're like 18, they've already heard the word no hundreds of thousands of times. No, don't do that. You can't do this. Who do you think you are? All these things. And probably the habitual thing is hearing their parents say, I have to go to work. I have to do this. But what if your life became a get to? What if everything became a gift because you chose to see everything as a gift? You have the power to decide what things mean. You have the power to decide how you're going to define and describe things. There's no set thing, as Jacqueline says, my soulmate, there's nothing in the fabric of the universe that says things are a certain way. There is a collective agreement among humans about what things mean, but if you look in the totality of things, in the whole universe, outside of planet Earth, nobody's probably using the English language. Maybe they are, but they probably have a totally different way of describing things. But I notice the whole point of this is notice your habitual language that you're using, because you're shooting yourself in the foot. Is it negative? When I read What to Say When You Talk to Yourself, I was surprised to learn that I had so much negative self-talk. It was habitual, it was automatic, it was route. Psychologists are saying that literally you have 80 to 90,000 thoughts a day, and most of those are just on autopilot, and most of those are negative. Most of those are negative. That means you're creating a negative experience. You are creating suffering for yourself when you could be in a beautiful paradise. You could create heaven on earth with your language that you choose. You could see things as a get to. Like kids see things as a get to. They get to go play. They get to go on the trampoline. And I learned that work was something I had to do. And so when I would go to work, I would feel those associations. Those, oh man, work is something I have to do and I don't want to do. I had a negative association with it because that's what I was taught. Not because somebody was being mean to me and saying, I'm going to put these programs, these language patterns in his mind. It's because people weren't consciously aware of what they're saying. So wake up and really notice the language that you're using. Are you using language that's empowering or disempowering? That's basically it. I get to do this Facebook Live. I get to smile. I get to live another day. I get to be grateful that my heart is beating 100,000 times per day without me doing anything. I get to put good content into my mind. Feed my mind positive content, uplifting content. I don't watch the news because I don't want those negative language patterns programming my mind. Guys, our minds, our brains, they're kind of like computers. It's an old metaphor, but I've always loved it. We have programs that go into our computers, our brains. And if you're watching a lot of negative content, that's going to affect your language patterns as well. If you watch, for example, Breaking Bad, I binge watched it in 2012. It was, on one level, an amazing show. I won't deny that. But my life felt really negative, and I got really negative. And Jacqueline had told me, look, dude, you've gotten negative. You've gotten negative. And I thought I was a positive person. But you get infected by the programs that you watch, by the content that you read. If you watch the news every day, you're putting content in your mind about bombs, rapes, car explosions, school shootings. That's the content in your mind, and that's going to come across in your language. You'll start talking about bad things. Are you a person that delivers bad news to other people? That's another thing. Notice when you're talking to people, am I delivering bad news or good news? Am I talking about negative things? That's part of your language too. Or am I what if you were the one person out of hundreds of thousands, millions, billions of people on planet Earth that are actually positive, that are actually uplifting? You could become an uplifter of planet Earth, whether that's you're putting out amazing, uplifting, life-changing products in your business, or maybe you're going into your career every day and you're being that one person at work that brings the positivity, that brings the smile. It's your decision. So with this, just notice your language going forward. I'm going to go eat some stuff. Bye.